speaking to training. It being brought to the app is the people's issue with it. Do you think it was right if this child is reaching out to train because she needs to speak to somebody, because she knows train, because they have a relationship, whatever the reason is, she's reaching out to her for a reason. Do you, sitting here right now, think it was the right thing to do to bring that conversation to the app?
So me and Train actually talked about that, and because Mackenzie cut Pissy all off, she told, she was asking me, she wanted it. That's what Mackenzie wanted. Mackenzie wanted Train.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you, do you think it was right?
If it was somebody under the age of 18, I would absolutely say no, and I would tell that person no. But because if it was somebody, if it was a child of a past friend that was over the age of 18 and said, Johanna, I want you to be my voice, this is how I feel, I would have absolutely done it.
So all of the times that you have come to me for different reasons and said it doesn't need to be on the app, this particular situation is okay to be on the app.
So Train just said in the chat, she told me to put her mom in her place. If I could pin the comment, I would, but Angel has not gave me that access.
And she's also an adult.
You can't pin comments when people are in the boxes.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forget.
Okay.
So Jen, can I ask you a question? Because I was going to ask you real quick. It's actually two. Do you have daughters by chance or children?
I do.
Okay. So if your daughter was assaulted in the way of this young woman, right? How would you feel hearing someone say, but there weren't any other victims?
Well, you can't ask me that because I'm a different breed. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you as a mother, if I heard another woman say that, I would be crushed at the lack of support for my child who was assaulted as a teenager.
And I can respect that. Again, it comes down to everyone has a right to a different opinion.
But as women, right, as mothers, as protectors, it is not our job in society to just protect our children, but also to acknowledge the trauma and the protection needed of all children.
I'm not going to, I mean, you mean protect them? Like, obviously, if I clearly see, a child in harm's way, I'm going to step in whether it's my child or not. But if, say, blonde Barbies had a 15-year-old daughter and they were going through a situation or whatever, if I saw it, I would bring it to her attention to make sure she's aware. But I wouldn't have no input on that because it's not my child. That's her child, her family, her situation. Joe is a different story. Joe, her daughter, I've spoken to her and had a relationship with her. So she was more like a niece than just, somebody's daughter. So for me, it just depends on the situation. If they're not being harmed right in front of my eyeballs, then I'm not going to step in.
I think we need to remember that harm isn't always visual and it's always not right in front of our face. And I'm going to use UOG, and I'm sorry to do this, right?
No,
but there was a point less than a month ago where if I came in any of these women's lives, we would have gone at each other. I don't care if I was going at OG or not. If I saw her child mentally going through something, regardless if I liked her or not, I would never diminish that, ever. As a mother and as a woman.
You asked me if I would step in as a mother and as a woman as far as another woman's child. And that's when I said no. But I don't care what's going on between Joe and I. If at any moment her daughter texts me for any reason, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm stopping what I'm doing to have a conversation with her. I don't care what I'm doing. I could be involved with my own children. I would stop what I'm doing to see what's going on with her and to make sure she's okay. But I have a connection to that child. No different than Joe with my daughter. She's got a connection with her.
I'm just putting my personal feelings in there, but as a survivor, right, of childhood abuse, I think to hear any adult say, well, there's been no other victims, it doesn't matter if there was other victims or not, because if you look at it in a different crime, there's not a difference between a murderer and a serial killer. They both took someone's life, regardless if there's one victim or 35. And the crime is just as horrendous.
And I agree with Train's comment. He just hasn't been caught, if there is one.
And that's what I said earlier, and that we know of.
I have to agree with that.
And that could have been Joe's daughter. That could have been Train's daughter. That could have been a daughter that he's playing with on Fortnite right now that he plans to meet. You never know. Because I believe in my mind, and this is just my opinion, once an RSO, always an RSO.
Absolutely.
And thank God it wasn't Joe's daughter, but you also see the after effects. We just heard it from her. She now is sitting there playing back every fucking interaction that she was exposed to as a mother, questioning what the motive was and feeling helpless of, did I put my child in harm's way?
Oh, I did. That's the problem that I have, and I still juggle it. I mean, I've gotten peace with it. Thank God for set work and sponsorship, right? Like, I'm at peace with it, but when you hear certain people, and not just Jen, there's been a lot of people across here that's like, oh, it's been beaten like a dead horse. It's this. Well, then keep scrolling, because for me, until listen, when it comes up, it's like that old stuff that you just don't really work through. It comes right back to the surface. And I was talking to a friend the other night, seeing the messages where Issy said, I don't want to go to court for the FRO. I want to testify on behalf of the kids. I want her to see my face with the kid. Like that right there and alone just brought everything right back up, because then what was your intentions behind that when you came to my, like, it's just, it pulls up a lot of stuff, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, because it completely 100% violated me, violated my home, completely took my decision making away. Did not give me the not with the truth. And by Virginia state law, they have to tell you. They can't. I mean, he was supposed to talk to his compliance officer before even leaving. And the whole time, I don't know if anybody else caught it, but just by chance, when he's, using Numbnuts page, he says, oh, don't worry. I sent a letter to my compliance officer letting them know that I'm using my female friend's TikTok page. Well, or account. He was supposed to be doing that the whole time. So none of that got brought up at all. I had no reason to doubt anything that they said to me. I was on the phone with my personal attorney, my friend, giving him guidance on how to take it back in front of Virginia, because if that was your plea, then that's what it should have been, right? But never followed it. He never did nothing with any of the information that was given to him. So even that, I didn't even catch on to that. I never had a reason to question them. I never had a reason to question them. And now I question everything. I question everything. What if, just what the fuck if, I wasn't going to share this or anything, but not long ago when, Alyssa, and she apologized, and bygones are bygones, and listen, I'm not somebody that I would sit with or whatever, but we found peace amongst ourselves as well. But because of the trauma that my children dealt with, because I was an addict, right? And I had to make the best decision for my children, which was, in the moment, an IV heroin addict in front of a judge, I had two options: to the state where my children will be separated, or I place them in the very hands of the person that abused me mentally, physically, emotionally my whole life. She told me I deserved it. I probably asked to be raped, and then told me my whole life that she should have swallowed me, or I should have went down my dad's leg, or I mean, if anybody knows who my dad is, please let me know. I still don't know that story. But I was told that all my life, right? So through all of this, every motherfucking person, every fucking person that I ever, which I'm an open book, I'll talk about my trauma because that's the only way I'm going to heal. But every person that ever sat with me, that's seen documentation and proof of the abuse that I went through and the fight that I did for 5 years and still keeping and still staying clean and finally winning to get my kids back, right? They took all that. They sent cops to the house constantly, welfare checks, CPS, constantly calling my job, all of this stuff to where it's brought up not just my trauma, but my fucking kids' trauma. The other night, when I had to get off live because of that whole stuff, I can't say 100% because it was just a welfare check and they didn't leave any name. But they sent the cops out to my house, and that affected my daughter so severely because when they pulled up, they automatically go to with that woman beating their head. I won't stop. I'm always going to come. I'm always going to come. Da, 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 and all this stuff. It affected my daughter to the point where her mental health was at an all-time high. And that's as far as I'm going to go with it. Because I'm at the point now where if my children still keep getting affected, that charge that I told, I'll told another one. I mean, fuck, the people that see me go to jail and was on the call, pissy, screenshot it in orange as if I'm ashamed of that. I mean, I don't have a problem with wearing orange. Do I want to? Absolutely not. I'm not that person anymore. But I'm tired of my kids' trauma constantly being pulled back up because motherfuckers think it's funny to call the goddamn cops to my house. But they won't pull up. They won't pull up and let me beat them the fuck up. They won't do that. They'll just be big bad gangsters on TikTok. But it's still going on. But people want to tell me and Train at what point, and not just you, Jen, there's been other people, and I tell them to go fuck themselves. But people want to say, when is it going to stop? Are we going to go through this again? It hasn't stopped for me. My job still gets screen recordings. My HR rep from DJE3 still calls me and says, well, we got another one. They just don't know where I'm at now. That's all. They just don't know what building I'm in. And that's how it's going to stay. But it still happens. I'm still getting calls. I'm still getting the police sent to my house. But when does it stop? Me and Trina supposed to stop.
When is enough?
And that's the difference between harassment and people wanting the accountability and for the fucking gaslighting from the perpetrator and the people around the perpetrator to be held accountable. There is a difference. There is a major difference. And I'm going to say this, and I don't even know if Train is in here anymore, but you two and the journey that you have had and the voice that you have had through the process of your recovery, because I know that trauma being perpetuated while in recovery is not an easy thing to navigate. But the strength and the recovery that you guys represent with the grace that you have is something to be proud of. And it is something to continue to work at daily. And it has provided so much strength to people that I think you guys don't know 100% every person that you've provided strength to. And I, as a woman in recovery, want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Miss Wonders. And yeah. I agree. If Train was drinking, Lord bless it. But she's not, and that's what I think too. Like, on the same token, we're talking about when does that stop? But, like for me, 5 years, lost my dad, lost my best friend, lost my husband, and I'm still clean, right? And for me, I firmly believe, that the angels around me and the guidance that I have, like, I won't. I won't. You can't push me to that. Fighting for my children for 5 years and being denied, you can't push me. But it's very disheartening and upsetting that the very people that used to sit in Train's corner cheering her on is now banking on her to pick up, and that's wrong.
On her
But
downfall.
it goes right back to when isn't enough on our end, right? But it's never when is enough on her. I have not yet, and it's not 2 years, it's a year. You know, Pissy is saying that it's 2 years. No, it's not even been quite a year yet. Close, but I've not yet heard not one time of any kind of accountability. Any kind. It's not me. I wasn't the one that called. I didn't do it. I didn't say this. Well, I was in the box. Well, I can't control nobody's life. I can't. It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man. There's been no accountability at all for her. At all. None. Nothing.
What about those receipts for them teeth?
That ain't coming either, because I got the screenshot where she was petrified and worried that she sent me the receipt that she only paid $3,500, point blank, period. No implants, no bone graft, no nothing. And it's only it was $300 and I think $20 to have a fucking tooth pulled. Because I seen them too, and I have, but it don't matter. It don't matter. People are gonna think what they want, do what they want. They're gonna still continue to support, just like numbnuts. They're gonna continue to support her. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, my end game, my end goal. I had a friend ask me that, and that was I wanted certain people just to leave me alone and leave other people alone, and that's happened. There's been peace for me and on this side. I just think it's wrong for people to try to shut other people down. If my offspring was affected by this app, then I would get off of it. Well, I think Jen cleared that. I guess everybody has their own opinion. I do help people. I put a total of 39 people and help them get into rehabs and still in contact with them for recovery. So that's what makes me different. Whoever you are that got blocked or muted.
Fuck them. But that's probably one of those people that support what's been happening, and that's okay. They're probably going to play fucking Fortnite.
Well, I just wanted to jump in the box and say that, just like, I'm going to say this in closing, like I'm at a meeting. I'm going to say this and I'm going to get out of the box. Just like you and I have talked about certain things going to the live, you and I have talked a lot about verbiage, not what we say, how we say it. I know that the person that I met over 2 years ago, or however long it's been, has always advocated for voice, has always stood up for what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. You being in that live, Jen, and saying, who cares? Who cares? I mean, that definitely hurt my heart. Definitely hurt my heart.
And in reference to the who cares part, I'll say it right now. I don't care about no paperwork. If that girl, she has no reason to lie. So what that girl comes out here and says, take it to the bank. Nobody should need any paperwork if we always believe the victim. Nobody should need any paperwork.
I agree, but I just feel like you should have said it all then. I mean, you got Pissy sitting over there in the box, like.
And that's the only reason. Listen, I don't give a fuck what anybody on this app thinks of me. I don't care what anybody on this app thinks or says or about me. I don't care. I never have. Just same thing on Reddit. I don't care. But this entire week, I have been getting in boxes explaining the comment because I don't want it to come across as if I'm trying to victim shame, because that was not and never will be my intent. If that's how it was perceived, then it falls on me to correct it, because that was not my intent.
I can respect that. Well, I'm glad that you're getting the boxes and making it right. I definitely am. That's definitely how it was perceived. Um, y'all have a good night.
Good night, blessed.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to turn into this.
But it's a conversation that needs to be had, right? Like,
And I don't know Miss Hernandez or Steele. Well, I know of Steele, but not Steele. But OG, you and Angel, I do know. So what I'm fixing to say is for the two of y'all, I don't care what it is on this app. If y'all ever have a question, reach out to me. I don't have a problem having a discussion with anybody about anything. I don't have to agree with, what you're wanting to say or whatever, but I don't have a problem having a conversation like this with anyone. So if there's anything you ever see me do or say on this app and you question it, OG, on Instagram, as soon as you reach out, I'm responding. Like, come to me and say, Jen, what the fuck? And I have no problem having a conversation with either one of y'all.
I appreciate that.
And sometimes people get heated and they may say things and it may not come out the way it's being said in their head. And if it comes out differently, then Blonde Barbie, like you said, you was like, what the fuck did Jen just say? Then message me, because I may not see something you're seeing. And if it's coming out a way, like I said, it came out as if I was trying to victim shame, and that was not God, y'all. That was not my intent.
Jen, I'm gonna just say this because I watched that recording over and over and over again, just trying to wrap my head around it.
I did too.
Because the amount of times that you said, who cares? All I could hear is, who cares about the victim? Who cares what she went through? That's exactly what it came off as. And when I tell you I watched it over and over, I probably watched that recording 100 times.
Listen, I was on the phone and I kept saying, I really didn't know Jen was like this. I really didn't think she was this type of person. Like, I just kept stating it because I really didn't.
and her eyes were really that big.
I mean, if you support them, you support them. But I just think as a mother, I mean, we're all our own person. As a mother, I could never. I was raped as a child.
Me too.
I could never, ever say who cares about an RSO situation. It's just disgusting to me. I just wanted to come up and say that, but.
So if any questions, anything, y'all just reach out. Y'all just reach out. I mean, I'm a big advocate that, and I know Joe says it's the verbiage that you use. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. But for me, my philosophy is on the other end of it. I am not responsible for how you perceive it. But because this is such a triggering subject, is the only reason I've been getting in these boxes to explain that was not my intent. And I'll continue to do it for the next month if that's what I need to do. But that is the only thing that I will correct is the victim, if it came across as victim shaming.
Well, I'm not going to lie, Jen. That is exactly what it came across as.
To several people, not to everybody. I've had just as many people that have come to me and said that's how it was taken. I've had just the same amount.
In my opinion.
Right. I've had the same amount of people, even people that dislike Missy. The same amount of people came and said, well, this is how I took it. So not everybody took it that way. But I don't care how many people didn't take it that way. If there's only one or two people that took it as me victim shaming, then I need to correct it with those one or two people.
I think what gets me is not just the who cares, not just the it was 13 years ago, not just the well, there's no other victim since then. It was the hearing, I support you. When you're saying, and I understand you're saying that it wasn't specific to the Willis situation, but that's what the conversation at hand was. So to us, again, perception is, even if it's not your intentions, the way that it was presented to everyone who was watching that this situation triggers trauma in was she's going to continue to support the woman who's lying about the assault of a child. And again, that may not have been your intention, right? But that's 100% how it was perceived by hundreds of people who watched that.
And again, that's why I've been getting inboxes this week. You're absolutely right. When I got in there and was speaking about, at this point, it's harassment, I was referring to the tit for tat, the back and forth, the week before that, and what she was doing as far as, with this husband and that husband, and the week before that, and what was going on then, and the week before that, and whatever. That's what I was referencing to the harassment, not to them harassing him, because I don't give a fuck if anybody harasses him. But I know how exhausting it has been for everyone involved. And that's where I was referencing the harassing part at. But because, like you just said, because of what they were talking about at that moment, when I came in talking about harassing, that's automatically what everybody took it as, over there harassing the RSO.
Good night, Blessed. I'm sorry that your heart's hurt, and I know we don't talk very often, but you can always message me if you need.
And I just gotta say it, I don't feel one damn bit sorry for Melissa in any motherfucking way. And that is my opinion, because she gets out here every day and still defends it.
I just got a question. Now, Missy was off the app for quite some time. Isn't it the first thing that she said when she came back was she had to say something about fucking Train?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it about Train's ring? Like, you left for a while. Train hasn't said not a damn thing about you. Why the fuck are you coming back speaking on Train's ring? Bitch, did you pay for it? It's none of your business. But that's what she wanted to come back and do, was speak on Train about something that didn't have nothing to fucking do with her. Over a ring that she didn't pay for, she didn't pick out. She didn't go with Train to pick it out or nothing, but you had to come back to an app and speak about Train when Train hasn't said not a damn thing about you. So when Missy speaks about Train, Train's gonna come back. That's just how it's gonna be.
I love you, Joe. I love you, big.
All right, I appreciate y'all letting me in the box and at least try to correct anything that was said that people don't agree with. OG, like I said, you and Angel can reach out to me at any time if you have any questions, or if you need me to come get in a box, anything. OG, you should already know I'm like you. If I go in somewhere and I need to get in a box, I'm gonna get in a box.
I appreciate that, Jen.
All right, I appreciate y'all letting me in.
Good night.
I'm just saying, people talking about, oh, don't harass Missy, but what about her being gone for so long and then coming back and talking about Train's fucking ring? Like, bitch, shut up. Train was not talking about you. Go sit in your fucking litter box and shut up.
What happened to Blessed?
She left.
She said goodnight. Her heart was hurting.
She is, her and Jen were friends. Let's be real, right? She's very hurt by his actions.
She's hurt, and I'm sorry, right? I'm going to be an asshole for a second, Barbie. Sorry. That conversation and that explanation didn't change a damn fucking way that I feel. I perceive it and I feel, and I'm going to own it as my feelings, is her ass got fucking caught and she's making an apology tour. And at the end of the day, you said what you said. You repeatedly said, I support you
Hold
to a
on,
woman
sorry,
who is
Miss Hernandez.
protecting an RSO.
Then that shouldn't matter. She has every right to her feelings. If her feelings are hurt, her feelings are hurt. No matter when you stop talking. Sorry, Miss Hernandez.
So that's okay. She was given the opportunity to try to explain herself, right? I can try to explain away my shitty behaviors with my character defects, right? And say, oh, I made a mistake. It still doesn't make me a shitty person when I do it. And I think regardless of how you try to explain it away, right, and what your intentions were, the interactions on that live were unwarranted, was extremely hurtful, and there was no accountability. There was trying to explain it away. So I didn't mean to fuck up the vibe of your guys' lives, but that really triggers me. And
You didn't fuck up the vibe.
I don't, and I'm gonna say this because I know you're still in here, Jen, and I completely agree with you, Miss Hernandez. And I said the same thing in the comments a little bit ago. I really feel like you didn't realize how much heat you were gonna get for trying to stand up for her during that live, and now you're trying to save face because you see the whole internet then saw that live, heard what you said, and I just think it's fake as fuck. I think honestly, this is my opinion, you are trying to be a different person depending on where you're sitting,
I said that.
and that's the truth. Because every time I see a recording here or see a recording there, it seems like a different fucking story.
I said she's only saying what she's stating right now because of who she's friends with at the time.
And that's just how I feel.
But if she was to become friends with Train and Joe tomorrow, she'd have a different outlook.
Oh, okay. I don't get on TikTok enough to care about any heat. I'm barely on here anymore since I started working. I haven't been on here since the beginning of March when I got the job. I might go live twice a month now. I don't care about any heat on TikTok.
But you do, or you wouldn't be going around trying to make it right.
I'm only going around.
That's wrong.
I am only going around and speaking to the people I have associated with on this app for almost a year. That's it. Nobody else.
But in the same breath, and so this is why I came back, because of course, stuff gets shared. In the same breath that you say that, you're only explaining it to people that you associate it with. And me explaining and sharing my feelings on how the person that I know and the things that you recently has said, and the way I perceived it, right? Your response to that once you leave the box is Joe and I haven't talked since April. So then really, right, that puts you in the same category that I tell anybody else. And listen, you said it, not me. At the end of the day, no, we don't talk at all. We don't anymore. And I'm okay with that. I know that you're okay with that. But I would never, ever, ever, if you came to me on a live and said that I hurt your feelings and it was like a backhanded smack in the face when you're like, who cares? Who cares? And I share with you that I had no reason to research them. And they came in my home and stayed in my home. And I'm talking about the fetal fucking position of questioning every fucking move that Willis made in my house, in my backyard, by my pool, walking down the AC boardwalk, you know, going to get piercings and running and picking and playing and all that. I'm questioning all that. And your response is, Joe and I stopped speaking in April. I'm still talking. So then you really have absolutely no right on this side, because Train doesn't talk to you and I don't talk to you, right? So you really have no right at all to put your opinion on when is enough and the harassment on both sides. So then to get to the exact fucking nature, you were talking about just Missy, and it goes right back to the fact that I don't believe that it was about the harassment at all. It goes right back to because see, I gave you the benefit of the doubt because I like to have thought that I knew your heart and what you advocate for, what True Crew stands for. But when you make a comment like that, it's almost like it doesn't matter. Then you throw on the justifications. Well, just as many as people that it was triggering to and that it affected. I had a whole lot of people that reached out and agreed with me. Well, the ones that probably agreed with you are probably the motherfuckers sitting with the RSO.
Facts.
So when I made the comment about you and I not speaking was in reference to what OG had just said about us being friends. It had nothing to do with your comment.
Jen. She said something about, I said, what happened to Bless? Because I wasn't around my phone. And OG said her feelings were hurt. And you said in the comment.
No. And after OG said about her feelings were hurt, she then followed up with her and Jen were friends. Her and Jen are friends. And Jen, whatever she said after that.
She said her and Jen were friends.
Were friends, yes.
Were friends, which is dead on. We were friends.
Yes.
We were. We were friends. There's no justification.
Okay, so my response was to her, not to what you said. My response was to her that this wasn't the reason we were no longer friends.
But that's like a smack in the face, Jen. Like, oh well.
Because again, Joe still felt a feeling for you. And she's feeling it right now. That's why she came back.
Because her response in the chat was, let me go up. Hold on. The reason that I said that is because people were responding to her. And she said, hold on. Damn it to fuck. I don't know. Something about, she said.
Are you talking about me?
Yes. What was your comment?
I said it's like a back. So I get out of the box, or I'm sitting in there and I get out of the box and I'm still in there for a few minutes and that comes up about, just as many people that were triggered. There was a lot of people that also agreed with it. And then comes the justification. For me, there's just no justification. I stand on it. If you apologize, it's I'm sorry, right? Kind of like if Train's still in here. I apologize to Train. There's no but. I apologize for the fact of the behaviors and the things that came out of my mouth, regardless of what my intentions were. If I am sorry, it's just that nobody gets to tell me or tell somebody how I hurt their feelings.
So what was your comment,
that
Joe?
you hurt my feelings, that it was like a backhanded smack to the face and justification.
And regardless how long it's been since y'all have not talked, that doesn't change the fact that Joe still had feelings.
Where did I say her feelings didn't matter? I never said that. All I was doing was responding to OG.
It's the way that you said it. When she said they were friends, Barbie, you said, me and Joe ain't been friends since April. Like, I don't give a fuck. Why are your feelings hurt, more and less?
Because this is where the it comes in, and I just don't understand it. So OG makes a comment, and the way I perceive the comment is they were friends, as if we are no longer friends because of this situation. That's what I'm thinking in my head by what OG just said. That's the way I perceive what OG just said. So I responded with, "We haven't been friends since April," because that's what I was, how I took it. How is that wrong? How is
It's
that
not
wrong?
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. You're not wrong. You're absolutely right.
I would never try to minimize your feelings. I get that you're hurt, and I'm sorry that you're hurt. I would never try to minimize that. You know me. I would never try to
why I'm
minimize
hurt.
that. You and I have always been able to say that hurt my feelings, or that wasn't very nice, or we've never
And
had
that's
problems.
exactly what she said. Her feelings are hurt. And basically, you said, we haven't even been friends since whenever you said.
Responding to you.
Talking.
Correct.
But then it
So
goes right
you
back
were
to the whole
responding
fact
to
that
her through me, basically.
No, I was responding to you.
She's not wrong.
I mean, it is what it is. Listen, at the end of the day, even though we don't talk, I definitely held you at a different level, because of our conversations as far as when it comes to minimizing or, for me, victim shaming. It's not a secret. I was asked by my friend, "Do you still talk to Jen?" And I said no. I mean, it's very clear that we don't talk. I mean, for one, OG, somebody that I talk to, if not every day, every other day. Ashlyn, same thing. If not once a week, every other 2 weeks, or once a month or something. And same thing with Angel. So it's not very, but I don't go putting you down by any means. We just don't talk. We just don't talk. That's it. But that doesn't mean
And
that
she doesn't even talk about you.
it
You
doesn't
don't
mean
even
that my
come up on
feelings
the
are
conversation.
minimized. And I wouldn't say that you so much minimize my feelings, but what I will say is that through all that, I guess the way I perceived, they were just talking about my feelings and them being hurt, as I stated in the chat. And then, the response is that you haven't talked to me since April, which it is what it is. Sometimes I just feel like it's like a dog chasing its tail. You said it before. It's not, when you say things, it's not your responsibility on how people perceive them, and that's why I'm big on the verbiage and articulating my words in a manner that they don't cause harm, or they're not throwing daggers, or, minimize, or making somebody feel like they minimize them. I'm minimizing their feelings, or whatever the case may be in that moment. But I 100% feel like that my feelings, and Trey can speak for herself, but I would say this whole situation, Trey and I's feelings 100% have been minimized, and everybody else's feelings matter. And that's just, that's not okay. I mean, that's how I perceived it. I mean, you trying to clear up what you said and correct what you said, when 100%, regardless of how many people came and seen it or said that they agree with what you were stating, I'm sure there was just as many that was like, what the fuck? I know that my mouth dropped. I wouldn't have expected that out of you. But it is what it is. I'm not going to keep it going. I know that for me, my feelings are valid. It doesn't make them facts. I know that I am 100% hurt, because it's almost like it doesn't even matter. I know that I will stop advocating and speaking up for anybody that is being shamed, whether it be sobriety or any kind of victim. That's just who I am. So, y'all have a good night.
I love you, friend.
And I'm honestly
Love
sick
you.
and tired of my friends being hurt over the situation. And I can't even, my heart is so broken for the victim in this situation. Like, every time you guys go live and y'all, like, the shit that comes out of y'all's fucking mouths. Like, how the fuck do y'all think she feels watching this shit when it happened to her?
And at Trailer Park, Jess, I think you're 100% correct, right? Part of the perception of that was she was only here to clear it up to people she talked to, but she doesn't talk to Joe.
And let's be real, Jen hasn't really even fucking talked to me in a hot minute. Not since a falling out with one of my groups, and she decided to talk to them and listen to their side, and that's where she left it. So there's that.
I mean, it's very fucking obvious. You play a part in every box that you're in. It's, I mean, the whole TikTok world that watches sees it. Because I know for a fact the same energy of trying to be whatever accountability you're trying to take for you saying that would not be the same if you were in Pissy's live. You'd be right there cheering her on, supporting her and her fucking nasty ass husband.
Well, and like I said, and I'll say it again, the live that she was in the other night when I watched it with my 2 eyeballs is not the same story that she just come in my box and told.
Not at all. Not at all. But there's only so many times that you can nicely say you're full of shit before the conversation continues to go nowhere.
But seeing Joe hurt like that
Hurts
That
me.
hurts.
and the
Yes.
response is basically like,
When somebody holds you to a high standard, regardless if you're friends or not, and then they see something like that kind of behavior that they would have never expected out of you, especially as a mother, that shit'll hurt anybody.
listen, me and Ashlyn have been friends for a very long time. But at the end of the day, if she was going through some shit, I don't give a
Absolutely,
fuck
Jess,
if I had not
absolutely.
spoke to her in 5 years. I would fucking be there.
Right.
I got something to say. I feel
I would
like
at
the
least
whole
text
time,
her.
she was in the box with her camera off, I just felt like she was just sitting there rolling her eyes.
And she probably was.
I don't care.
No,
Then the fact that, the whole thing with we haven't talked since April and all this other shit, I'm like, why are you going around in circles? You know how you meant that. I felt like we was talking to a 13-year-old and you have no clue what the fuck anybody's talking about.
but this is how you know people are full of shit, right? When they're saying that they were wrong and they never apologize for it.
Like, oh yeah,
There
I did
was
this,
not-
but
There was not once in that conversation where each and every one of us in our box shared some of our trauma and how her words affected any of us, let alone the fact that Blessed openly said her feelings were hurt by this woman who she was at one point friends with. Was there an apology? There was an explanation of why things were said, but there was never an apology for the hurt that she caused anyone, especially someone she once had as a very close friend.
Because she doesn't care. Point blank, period. She didn't care about none of their feelings when she goes trashing them with Pissy and all of them, or even the victim. Like,
Ashley said it. She's like, she just don't fucking care.
she don't care.
And there will be a whole live hosted about this, I'm sure, and I don't give a fuck.
I still want my $35 back that I gave you for them teeth, Missy, that you didn't use.
I'm sure she's counting that as the 3,500 total.
Like, I genuinely thought that she was going to use the money that she got from people for her motherfucking teeth, and then to find out you use care credit. And then she tried, like, when I asked for my money back, she put it up on the screenshot. She said, here, you want your petty ass $35 back? Come get it. And then blocked me.
Petty ass, it wasn't petty when you were asking for it.
And then she came out and said, well, the people who donated, if you want to see receipts, you can ask for it, and then never showed it.
She did once. She put her teeth in the screen and said, "Here's your receipts. Here's your receipts."
But the money that
I
people
saw a
donated
receipt
to
for
you,
care credit, but not actual donation money.
I mean, at the end of
What
the
I
day,
saw.
y'all, she ain't never
I
gonna show them
think
damn
Trailer
receipts.
Park Jess would make a very good president. I second that comment.
she sure did. I sent her $35 on Cash App. When I asked for it back, I was blocked on Cash App. It's okay, bitch. I reported it as fraud anyway. Got my money back. Ha ha.
Good night, Jess.
Good night, Jess.
I just
It's
wanted to jump
just
up here and say that because I can't, like, watching the bullshit excuses is just fucking mind-blowing to me. It's almost as sick as watching the initial fucking recording I seen.
And I know she wasn't saying people need to stop going after Missy because she didn't know nothing about it. Okay, who gives a fuck? She came back to this app. Back to this app. Nobody was talking about her. And the first thing she fucking talked about was Train and her fucking ring.
If Missy didn't want people going after her, she wouldn't be sitting on here defending her fucking piece of shit husband over and over and over again, making lies up for him.
And that's what I was just gonna say. I will go with the fact that you fell in love with the man and you gave him the benefit of the doubt and you believed what he told you. I'll give someone that benefit of the doubt. What I will not give grace for is the fact that an individual who was a child has found enough strength to tell their story and you continue to fucking lie and turn a blind eye. That's where you don't get grace from me.
Listen, if somebody came to me, even though I didn't know the situation, was like, hey, your husband has some, some things. I'm questioning you. I'm going to look into it. And if I find out it's fucking true, you're hitting the fucking curb.
And you ain't even taking your stuff, like Bob.
No, get the fuck up out of my house. Leave the keys on the table, because you ain't taking that shit neither.
And to use the excuse of, well, they're on the registry now because the laws changed.
Don't give a fuck.
Registry or not, your husband was charged with a sex crime against a
And it wasn't even really that the
for me to run the other way.
It wasn't even really that the fucking laws changed. Virginia was so behind on their laws that they had finally caught up.
And the fact that that man knew he had done some foul ass shit, and you wanted Train to come live with you with her child. You went to Blessed's house where she has children, and you fucking sat there and didn't say nothing. You fucking gross.
Yeah, y'all are pieces of shits for that.
And even though Missy knew, whether she knew the truth or not, you still knew, and you still went to this person's house, and you still was going to have Train come live with you, and you knew, bitch, you gross too.
She's gross for the fact that she allowed her husband to discipline her child recently and leave bruises. Like, there is just so much wrong with the behavior of the woman.
She bragged about it.
Yes, who is literally enabling abusive behaviors to this day. It may not be sexual, against children.
And then
Barbie, come back to the screen before it shuts off.
Barbie!
You gonna get us kicked out? Come back to the screen.
Barbie, where are you?
Just come back.
She may have reached out
And I
to
have
Joe.
a loud mouth, Casey. Barbie!